Welcome back to Rain on Your Parade with J-L Cauvin. I'm J-L Cauvin, here as always with producer Mike. Hello, producer Mike.
Hi, JL. Hi, everybody. How you doing? It's good to see everybody. What's going on?
Good to see you on this glorious Monday. The debate hasn't taken place yet, obviously, so I'll probably just respond with various videos on YouTube in terms of my reaction.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's the only thing YouTube and my fans allow me to earn on. But the polling is bothering me. You know, it's like it's come back to earth now. You know, now the buzz of Kamala Harris is subsided, and it's a dead even race. And Trump's support is locked in, but people, they want to know more about Kamala Harris. What are her positions? I'm starting to give up, not in a sort of radical left, let me go get an AK-47 and join a militia in the jungle sort of give up. But I'm pretty close to completely giving up on this country. And I'm sorry if that doesn't make me sound like a patriot. But this is a disaster. Like the fact that it's close.
Yeah. It
shouldn't have been close with Biden, but I get it to some extent. That maybe that race could have turned people off on both sides a little more. But this idea of like, I need to know more about Kamala Harris. Why? And I mean that genuinely. Who the fuck are you? Sorry, bad curse right up top. But no, I'm mad. Sorry, algorithm. Yes, YouTube has now taken away my ad money for this episode. But it's one of those, who are you? Like, seriously, person who's sitting there like some... Democrat is supposed to feed you grapes and fan you as you decide the fate of the republic. What are we doing? He's a traitor. He should be in jail. Or as he would say, or worse, you know what they used to do to treason people? Because he probably calls them treason people. You know what they used to do? It's called death penalty. He's a traitor. He's an idiot. He has no policy. But this idea of like, well, what's Kamala Harris going to do? Oh, I don't know. Dance nude on the White House lawn doing voodoo rituals while giving money to immigrants. What are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? I need to know more. When you tell me you need to know more about Kamala Harris, I go, oh, you're a fucking idiot. You're what the future of the country more and more depends on idiots. Like on both sides, but idiots. This is it. If a guy, like, in other words, the country has a bullet hole in its chest, and we just brought you to the emergency room, and Dr. Kamala Harris is on duty. Where'd you go to medical school? Are you board certified? Fuck it. Take me to the dumpster out back. That guy Trump is handing out pills. I'll take my chance with it. That's our country right now. What are this is where we are. And I hate to, you know me, I'm not like some MSNBC Matt Friend type.
Catching a stray.
No, these aren't strays. Those are sniper shots. The red dot is focused firmly on the hacks of America. But I don't trust this country anymore. We have talked on this show, and by we, I mean me at length, about cell phones. It is a perfect storm where we're at. The lack of commitment, the lack of ethics, the moral relativism, the obedience to technology, our attention deficit disorder. Everything is coming together. Like Donald Trump, as bad as our country has been in many years and many eras, only this era has the perfect storm to make someone like Donald Trump president and then president again. In other times, the founding fathers would have been like, we like his stance against the blacks, but he's a horrible piece of shit. Firing squad. The Civil War would have been like, well, the Confederate would have been like, but he's a fat coward. So we like his stance on slavery, but he's an obese monster who doesn't fight or work.
Right.
And so on and so forth throughout the eras of it. But finally, today in 2024, we've reached the saturation point of we don't read, we don't pay attention, we're very self-important. Yes, God is dead, but I'm very much alive on my Instagram selfie. That's our country now, and the world to a certain extent. But we are the country that is like fourth generation wealthy. We have no talent, but we have all the arrogance and power that comes with that wealth and accumulated status, and we are abusing it. And Donald Trump, when people feign this, like, I'm a concerned citizen, what are Kamala Harris's positions? I don't know. Democracy. Not raping. Good for me. I think I've heard enough on Kamala Harris's positions on the issues. Next. So that's how I'm feeling.
This is the intro of the show.
Yeah, well, no, this show is going to, you told me you need to go and watch the Jets. So I said, well, then instead of managing the game like Greg Maddux, I'm using our views just went down, a baseball reference.
Everybody hates baseball.
Instead of managing the game like Greg Maddux, like I'm going to paint the corners. It's Aroldis Chapman minus the domestic violence, just throwing heat. Okay. So we can get out of here.
I'm not rushing you.
No, I'm rushing. I'm living on borrowed time.
We're
Mike.
great on time. We're great on time.
Words that I never thought I'd hear Mike say while I'm talking. So that's my JL's opening thought, right? As I transition to a news show, because that's all my fans like. JL, don't try to be funny, and please don't tell us about anything other than your political takes. Well, tough shit, because I've got live shows coming up, and it's all comedy. Okay, I'm not doing a spoken word at NJ Pack. I'm in St. Paul this week. So if you get this episode Thursday or Friday and you're in the Twin Cities area, come on down to Laugh Camp to see me do comedy Friday and Saturday. And then a big show, my last show of September. And by the way, thanks to anybody who came out to the Newark show in New Jersey. That I like to toot my own horn, but I fucking lit that place aflame.
I believe it.
My set was fire, and it's the new material, so it feels very good. I've had just enough success this month to say 5 more years of my life I'll sign away to the misery that is stand-up comedy. And in speaking of a very emblematic industry of America's decline, like, I don't get that reference. Make the comedy about me. Do crowd work and make basic references. Be a hack, because I'm not studied in comedy. I don't know anything. I'm a fucking idiot. Give me what I want now, and I'll laugh and like you.
This is prime vintage JL.
Yeah. This is, maybe it's the tight t-shirt, even though I'm in terrible shape, that's making me remember my virility and my strength. When I could walk into a room, half the room would say, look at that arrogant fuck. And the other half would say, man, that guy's cool. That's what I miss. Instead of, what's with the mopey giant walking in here? Anyway, guys, September 28th, all my New Jersey people, I am basically the second or third coming of Springsteen and Bon Jovi for what I did during the pandemic for my adopted state. Not only in the tax money, my most successful financial years of my life, I've been paying taxes to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay. New York, I was freeloading for 40 years. They're like, this guy sucks. Should he even pay taxes? What a loser. I moved to Jersey and opened up the treasure chest, Phil Murphy, because I'm pouring money in there. It's time to pay it back. September 28th. You love the Trump. You love the fact that I'm from Jersey? Great. Come to the show September 28th. Look at that. I even made Italian pinched hands for you. So people are like, JL, were you on drugs this episode? You really came in hot.
One specific drug, cocaine.
Yeah. I had a healthy lunch. Laura's off today and she made me salmon, quinoa, and broccoli.
Wow.
And apparently my system is like, what's this? Nutrients? So look out if I start eating healthy.
I know.
I'm going to come in here just fucking the desk like American Psycho. Like I'm feeling great. Yeah. Okay. So we've got a great topic today. It's guns and law enforcement, 2 of my least favorite things. That's right. Former prosecutor J-L Cauvin coming out against the cops today. But also one last thing, and then we can go to break. Unless, Mike, if you have any news to share.
Nothing of intensity. So
all
I
right.
guess no.
But yeah, I'm going to pass out on the train home. half blackface, people. I know I mention it way too much. You don't care. I get it. A message received. I'm just going to say, and this is not hyperbole, the album of half blackface that I now own, without getting into anything that could get me into trouble, it's the single most important work of my life for so many reasons. Comedically, my integrity, my art, my passion, my dedication to this art, not the business. I hate the business. I own it now. And I would just say, if you were a fan of what I do, you can watch the special, and it's a different set. The Amazon and Tubi, it's also on Tubi I know I have a lot of people in foreign markets who can't access the Amazon Prime. It's on Tubi, which is international and free with ads, but it's a different set than the video special. So I appreciate everyone who has bought, downloaded, listened, streamed, watched, all that stuff, and my other stuff as well. But the album version is like the one thing where I would say, if you buy anything of mine, if you've never bought anything, if you've never gifted anything of mine, that's the thing. The album is on Amazon MP3 Music and iTunes. That's all I'll say about it before we go to break, because I've got to recharge and really bring the heat. That was just a warm up. That was just the opening act, Mike.
That's my secret.
I'm just getting warmed up. So when I think of guns, something comes over me. Teaser for next week. By the way, that's a teaser for next week. Next week is a special episode.
You should get, definitely. Housekeeping. Let them know.
Yeah, next week's a special episode. It's my 25 favorite movie performances of all time. So it's a completely different episode. It's like a very special. Imagine it's for a holiday. It's like a very special Rain on Your Parade. All positive, really, because I'm only mentioning my favorite things.
Yeah.
So that was a very fun episode. So, maybe if the politics takes or whatever, or my manic energy right now is too much, that would be a good episode also to share somebody. Get to know the lighter side 100%. Of JL. My mom.
Yeah, right.
Oh, almost lost Mike with a borderline punny kind of joke there. Mom is very pale. Anyway, guys, shows, blah, blah, blah. My Patreon also, but no more pitches. Half blackface. Watch the special. Buy the album. That's really... it would make for a great Christmas for me. So, and it's not the money on that. It's just, I want to know that people have the version that I own, that I worked very hard for, and that this is a special and a set that means a tremendous amount to me. So I think I'm done yipping and yapping. I didn't watch a lot of NFL this week, but any NFL fans who didn't catch last week's episode, I recommend it. It's a good one. Mike, anything to add before I, do another line and bring the heat?
Let's go Jets.
Okay. Well, we'll know when this episode comes out. We'll know.
That's right.
My prediction is Aaron Rodgers torn everything.
Ugh.
Oh, wait, did I say my prediction? My hope. I meant my hope. And we'll be back after these special messages. And we're back. Mike, I think you're looking forward to this episode, at least the energy. So I'm not. How was the break?
It's going to be like a day off out here today.
Okay, good.
This is JL heat check to the 10th degree.
Yeah, we're just, this is Caitlin Clark fucking Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Right now.
Everybody's going to love it.
And by the way, shout out to show fan Angel Reese. You can't keep piling up those rebounds, but, now I guess Caitlin Clark can win the MVP. I mean, the Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year. Yeah.
I love that narrative where it's like, oh, now I guess it'll be Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Whereas before, who knew? Who could it be? But now, I guess, and there's going to be a couple of assholes who vote for Angel Reese.
Yeah, of course.
It's not going to be unanimous, unfortunately. The only non-unanimous vote I really enjoyed was when one journalist voted against Derek Jeter for the Hall of Fame on the first ballot.
Which infuriated him.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Funny, because you're a Yankee fan.
But
Jeter, a fan at all.
Yeah, my biracial guys have always been Babe Ruth and Aaron Judge.
I forgot Babe Ruth was biracial.
I don't know that he is.
Yeah, I think he's Native American, isn't he?
Okay. Well, that's not really then. I'm not counting that one.
I'm investigate.
No, I'm kidding. That does count. But Aaron Judge, his Twitter bio, like it only says follower of Christ or something like that.
Yeah.
I forget.
Boring.
Yeah, where it's, I mean, it's fine, but don't make that your personality.
Right.
Make it your, if you want it to be your ethical code, I get it.
Yeah.
It's me. Okay. 6'7", biracial, follower of the Lord. Yeah. But I clearly don't make that my personality. Our 19 fans know that. So guys, I wanted to talk about guns, as you can probably see from the title of the episode. I always forget, like it's new to us, but by the time they get it, they're like, oh, guns. Good. So guns, everybody. It's another symptom of our country. I read 2 articles today, and one of these everybody's probably familiar with. Fan of the show, Colt Gray, who shot up a Georgia school. Was it a middle school?
It's funny that you bring this up as the episode and the topic this week.
Yeah.
I saw a school shooting happened. Didn't really take a second to read about it.
Right.
It's just, another kind of week in America.
Yeah. I mean, it was like school's back.
Right.
How do you know?
Right.
The smell of gunpowder's in the air.
Smell the sulfur. Yeah.
Fall leaves, football uniforms, dead teachers and students in the gymnasium.
Yeah.
School. Yeah. Back to school. Like the Staples commercials soon will be like, grab your notebooks and your AR-15s, kids. Yeah.
At what point does Staples just start selling guns?
I mean,
one-stop shopping.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, did you get your pens and your Kevlar vest? Come on, kids. My favorite time of school is getting my bulletproof lunchbox. Yay! So this Georgia case is very interesting. What I think makes it different, the shooting in Michigan where the parents were...
Maybe.
Okay, yeah. Well, the big thing about that was last year, or earlier this year, the parents were charged with, I want to say, involuntary manslaughter. But they were charged with a crime and sentenced each to like 10 years in jail. Basically saying that they had done such a bad job as parents.
No way.
That they could be held criminally responsible in part for their son's murder of students. Now, I think the son got like life, I believe.
Ethan Crumbley.
Sure, there he is.
Parents of Michigan school shooter Ethan Crumbley, both sentenced to 10 to 15 years for involuntary manslaughter.
And I don't care what you guys do. We don't do cancel culture, so I will remain eating Crumb's cupcakes.
Well, got to.
Okay? I don't care what the Crumleys did. Crumb's cupcakes, Crumb's cupcakes didn't shoot anybody. So...
They did kill a lot of people, though.
They almost killed me.
Yeah.
I think if they hadn't closed down, you're not supposed to eat 2 750-calorie cupcakes as a snack
a day
before Five Guys 4 times a week. To me, the exercise when I lived in your neighborhood, my exercise was, do I walk to Duane Reade for a box of Entenmann's or do I walk to Five Guys for Five Guys? And I'd often be like, well, Five Guys is like 2/3 of a mile away.
Oh, yeah, or that.
So that's a calorie burn.
Yeah.
And I just have enough room after the cookies and cream and apple crumb cupcake.
That's so insane, dude.
Yeah, it was a bad time in my life, folks. But then I found the Lord. And so the point is the Crumleys, they're going to jail. And people were sort of applauding this in a way. And now with this guy, Colt Gray, and I believe his father is Colin Gray. He's been charged with, I want to say, involuntary manslaughter as well, because he gave his kid an AR-15 for his birthday.
Why?
Well, we're going to get to that in a second because it sounds crazy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because it is. And the kid had warnings when he was 13 from the school. And they were like, he was making threats about wanting to shoot up school. And they investigated it. And the kid told his father, I didn't do this. These aren't mine. And I guess they couldn't link it to him. They had their suspicions or whatever. And lo and behold, turns out he was going to shoot up a school.
Right.
Because he did.
Right.
And 2 teachers were killed. And I think many other students were injured. And I think this is like where we're at with gun culture in our country. And one other story I read today. Remember the video of the black man in Memphis who was beaten to death? Like maybe 2 years ago by 5 cops in Memphis.
Again, it's JL. I really don't mean to sound flippant.
No, I get it.
A lot of these things really do just kind of run together because they happen.
No, I got
so
you.
often.
But I just want to get his name right, because that's the name I should be saying. Memphis beating I think his name was Tyree. Tyree Nichols. Thank you, Google. Tyree Nichols. He was beaten to death by cops. And this was a guy who was doing this wasn't this wasn't even a Rodney King where it's like he was on drugs and we thought he was. This was like these dudes were teeing off, and I forget the circumstances of it, but it was shady.
Yeah,
and they killed him. And so there was an article today about crime in Memphis, and they talked about that case, and then they talked about how the DA and the maybe the mayor in Memphis wanted to pass some, because crime is very bad in Memphis. They wanted to pass some, additional sort of gun laws, sensible stuff. They know they're in Tennessee. They're not going to be like, no more guns, but they wanted to do sort of the basic, like ban assault weapons, this and that. And what's crazy is that like the House Speaker in Tennessee, because it's a very conservative house in Tennessee, as you can imagine, was like, the soft on crime DA just wants to take away rights of lawful gun owners. That's where we are. These two cases aren't in jail, which we'll get to in a second. And then you're trying to do something about crime by limiting guns?
Yeah.
Not in no. Which the unspoken thing there, I believe, is just, no, you just lock up the blacks and the immigrants. Bye-bye crime. That's what I think he's saying. Because the idea of like, no, you're not going to take any guns off of our street. Please go fight crime.
Right.
Go fight crime. Don't you dare take the guns. Oh, okay. So that's where, like, this is exhibit 5 million, why we're no longer a serious or governable country.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I don't think the father should be charged with the crime. If we can go back to the Georgia case, what I find so creepy about that, and what I was reading today, is the kid's being charged as an adult. He's 14. Now I know some people will be like, goddamn right.
Yeah.
And other people will say he's 14. I don't know that you can, it's heinous what he did, but
he did. People died.
Two teachers, 2 students dead.
Okay.
And others injured. Now, so I get it. I get like, hey, old enough to have a gun and murder people, old enough to do the time.
Right.
But one problem here is, okay, so the kid's being tried as an adult, but also, father, you're responsible for him.
Right.
Those don't mesh. Those can't work together.
Right. It's true.
Like
logically, they
can't.
Are, yes.
Like, to me, that is one of those things where, well, if the father is responsible, if we're saying, hey, dad, you need to play a role in this, how can he be charged as an adult?
Yeah.
And if he's charged as an adult, if you believe under law he is criminally responsible as an adult, then what the fuck does his dad have? I'm trying to be flippant. I'm saying literally those things they can't kind of occupy the same space.
Right.
And also, illegal for a 14-year-old to buy an AR-15 in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Not illegal to give him one.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
So, well, that can't possibly be part of the problem, that you're allowed to gift a 14-year-old a weapon of war. No, but that's not the problem. Let's just get the dad. Now, I don't know. The dad is probably a fucking piece of trash. Maybe not, but I'm willing to just say, for argument's sake, he's a fucking white trash piece of shit.
You're going to go out on a limb?
I'm going to go way out on a Mountain Dew limb.
Well, there was a headline that I saw when I was looking this up that said, Colt Gray's grandfather says Colin Gray got what he deserved. So I'm assuming not everybody in the family thought that it was smart to give this kid an AR-15.
What is this, August Osage County? You fucking trash bucket. It's so to me, I look at that and I say they want to blame the dad, because the last thing we're going to do, just like in Memphis, Well, no, it doesn't matter what our issues are. The guns stay.
Right.
And that's not a serious country. Like when guns become as important as like your Bible or your faith or your citizenship, this mythology around guns that Clarence Thomas helped propagate with, I think it was, I want to say the Heller decision, where basically they read into the Constitution a sort of ahistorical imaginary right to individual firearms. Mm-hmm. I get that we have a culture and a history of gun ownership, but it really shouldn't be constitutionally protected the way it is. But what Clarence Thomas did is one little thing, and I remember very little, but I remember reading in a book, and this is something the conservative justices have done a lot, especially Clarence Thomas, because he's an intellectually dishonest, corrupt piece of shit. And I'm glad he fucks that fat, ugly pig. He may like it. I'm sure she says the N-word to him in bed. I'm sure they have that kind of sick sort of relationship.
Yes.
Like he dresses like a slave. Like, he spills lemonade and she goes, pick that up. Yeah. And then they have disgusting, fat, elderly sex. But with all due respect to the senior Supreme Court justice, he would do this thing where he'd like put into a footnote. And I forget what justice called him out. Thank you. I forget what justice called him out for this. If it was Kagan or someone, maybe Ginsburg, RIP. But he would do this thing where he'd like write a dissenting opinion and be like, and here's just an opinion of mine also, like, well, guns should be individually owned.
Yeah.
Or whatever. There's an individual right to guns. And then like 15 years later, he's like, well, as we've seen in other dissenting opinions, there's a long written history of arguments that guns should be a constitutional right.
It's his opinion.
It's his. Yeah. He's just dropping like his own little turds in opinions and then calling back like 15 years later, like, well, actually, as you can see in this dissenting opinion by an author who the name escapes me, there is an argument.
The Coscarelli strong in him.
Yeah. What's the argument? It's like creating, it's almost like he's like doing a Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, in 20 years, because I'm never going to die and I'm going to stay on this court forever, I'm going to cite my own shit. That never was a holding,
genius.
But I can say there's an argument out there. There's differing opinions. Who wrote this one? Oh, it turns out that was me. I'm the one creating the bullshit opinion.
Yeah.
And then when they got the conservative majority they needed, they were like, actually, everybody can have guns. It's a God-given right. The founders completely thought everyone would have a Magnum 357 and an AR-15 in their just by their side.
Yeah.
Like an emotional support firearm.
Yeah.
Which is what they are, by the way. That's what I find so funny. I'm not an emotional support animal person. I love my dog. She supports me, but I would never bring her on a plane or pretend that I have some affliction to get my dog somewhere. But aren't guns just emotional support animals for animals? Like, I need my gun. Because otherwise, how am I going to go out into this crazy world full of blacks, immigrants, and Democrats? Where's my gun? I have a note from the Attorney General that says I can come into this bar with my emotional support gun. My AR-15. I have a note from our governor that says I'm a fucking piece of shit, scared of everything. And if you don't let me in this bar to drink copious, that's a big word, copious amounts of alcohol with my loaded AR-15, you're violating my medical rights of my emotional support gun. So, I think that analogy holds.
Yeah.
Now, these are the same people who will be like, look at this liberal queer with his emotional support dog. I'm lisping because everything Democrat is gay. But I got a gun because I don't feel safe anywhere. I got a grenade in Chipotle because I'm scared shitless, but in a tough Republican way. Not like a pussy liberal, but a tough guy. So that's where we are on guns. Mm-hmm. And then in Memphis, don't you dare take our guns, but goddamn it, fix crime.
Yeah.
So guns occupy. Guns are one of the things that makes me really want to give up on the country. Abortion is one of those things. There's such a fiery demand for it on one side that will remain an issue that is very strong and potent for a good amount of the population. But guns, there's this sort of like, I don't want to say resigned. I don't want to disrespect real activists and families of victims who are out there like just giving their lives to try and change this. But there is this sort of, we have 400 million guns. They're never going away. Why? Because if you pass a law, all of a sudden it'll become like prohibition for rednecks, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
It's crazy.
It's like the genie's already kind of out of the bottle. There's so many guns out there anyway.
Right.
It's like
the disease, this country's gun cancer has metastasized. It's in all our organs.
Right.
We are just waiting until we're all dead.
Right.
Like we're stage 4 gun cancer.
Do you think about it? Like when you go to the movies or something like that?
Sorry.
When I, especially not as much in New York, but like when I go see my parents in Jersey,
I think about getting shot every time I'm in a public gathering.
Yeah, define public gathering.
A game, a theater, church. I'm not like, it's not one of those things that I'm like, I can't live. But it crosses my mind. Like I was at my church Saturday. I decided to go to Saturday Vigil Mass this week.
Yeah.
And it just so happens it was my church's 145th anniversary. And the Cardinal, Tobin of the Newark Archdiocese was saying the Mass.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and at least twice during the Mass, I said, boy, this is a soft target if you want to take somebody out. I'm not thinking I'm just thinking like, I can't help. My mind is very active, but whenever I'm anywhere, I sort of think, geez, I hope this place doesn't get shot up. It's just, it's a fleeting thought, but
and we live in the Northeast.
Yeah.
Like imagine in a place where there are a lot of guns. I mean, there's guns in Jersey, but not like in Georgia or Tennessee or something like that.
Right.
You know?
And it's, what do you call it? The main time that I really thought for the first time in my life that I got, and I've never been quite the same, when The Dark Knight Rises, when there was that midnight shooting in
I think
Aurora,
about that all
Colorado,
the time. Yeah.
Because I was
that like blew me like
teaser for next week's episode.
Right.
Big Dark Knight fan.
That shit really affected me.
Right.
When that happened, I was just like, at the movies? Why at the movies? Why would anybody get shot at the movies? And then from there, it was just like the beginning of the snowball goes down the mountain, gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Then it was, I mean, school shootings, at least when I was a kid, Columbine happened.
Yeah.
Somewhat prepared for it a little bit. Is like, it was in your mind that it kind of could happen, but it's not going to happen here. Like they weren't as excessive as they are now, where one seems to happen every 3-4 weeks.
Right.
You know, but the movies really fucking made me start to think.
Right.
You know?
Well, what I would say is Republicans don't give gay people anything unless I have a gay child, and then I'll reassess.
Mm-hmm.
Shootings can't happen to my kids or my family until they do.
Right.
That's the Republican mindset is so cold, if you really think about it. It's so selfish and so cold. That is what we are fighting. And I don't mean there is a party in this country that has cloaked bigotry and selfishness in the flag.
Yeah.
And they act like the flag is some force field that hides the maybe they're not even aware. It's like Kingpin in the first season of Daredevil. My favorite thing about that season, which I thought was masterful. Kingpin doesn't know he's the bad guy until late in the first season.
Yeah.
That is one of the best things I've ever seen in a show or movie. This idea of, oh, he didn't just show up like, Matthew Murdoch.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you, Matthew Murdoch. Where's my girlfriend in our art museum? It was...
Forgot about the art museum.
Yeah. It was... I'm doing good things. I'm a tough businessman, but I'm fighting for my city. I think I have the vision. And then all of a sudden it's like, I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a fascinating thing that you never see in a show. It's just kind of like the bad guy got treated badly and became bad, or the bad guy was always bad. And here it's like, oh, I guess I'm the bad. Like, I guess I've chosen a side, and I'm the bad guy in this situation, and I'm fine with it. That's what I'm going to be. Republicans don't seem to care. Some don't realize, some don't care that they're the bad guys here. I'm sorry. Like, it just, the side that burns books and looks the other way when kids get shot are the bad guys. That's it. End of discussion. Now let's find out what the solution is by discussing it among the good guys. Bad guys, you're not in on this. You don't get to be part of the solution because you've been helping foment the fucking problem. So, guns, everybody. They're more important than everything, apparently. And that is one of the main reasons why I have lost so much faith in this country, whatever faith I had, because, Sandy Hook was, wasn't that the same year? That was a year later from The Dark Knight Rises. And The Dark Knight Rises, I meant to say,
that was 1 year.
Movies have always been I love going to the movies. I love the popcorn. I love the big chairs. I love seeing the movie on the big screen. I love movie theaters. Yeah. They're fun places. They're a relatively affordable escape.
And now they have movie theaters that have like sofas.
Well, no, now it's way easier to kill people in a movie theater.
I know.
It's like, oh shit, I was in my underwear and my bathrobe jerking off in a lounger. I had to get dressed, put away.
I've had that thought.
Turn off my white noise machine, gather it, and get out of the theater. We're now not sitting ducks, we're sleeping ducks in movie theaters. I'm sorry, I was on my sleep adjust a Craftmatic fucking, I have it on a 9. What's happening in the movie? I'm jerking off, drinking chamomile tea, trying to get a nap. But The Dark Knight Rises, there are probably 5 movies in my life that would be like the most anticipated ever for me. Two Towers, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
Going to the Two Towers was one of those moments. The Dark Knight Rises, I saw The Dark Knight 8 times in its original theatrical run.
The first one?
It was summer of 2008,
really?
Man. Timbaland was playing, and I took 4 second dates.
What a summer for you.
Dark Knight, Puss, Abs, Timbaland, Viva La Vida. What a year. CNN's going to do a documentary called 2008, the year of J-L. It started with getting dumped by a cruel fiance, but boy, oh boy, did he make up for the cruelty and the lost time. Anyway, I go see The Dark Knight Rises, but I'm sorry, I had my ticket. I had already bought my ticket for like the 10:45 a.m. show on Friday.
Right.
I was not currently working because at the time I still had faith that my comedy career would carry me through. And I wake up to the news that like 10 people, I believe, had been murdered at a showing of like a mass shooting. It wasn't a shootout, which obviously gun violence of any kind is horrible. But like, let's not pretend like when people are shooting at each other,
right,
that it's not less disturbing than people minding their business getting gunned down by a crazy person.
Right.
I mean, it's all bad.
A guy who went to go see a movie now is not coming home to his family. Right.
And I went to the theater that day and it was like it had been changed. Yes. Like the movie theater experience had been changed. I mean, when I saw Top Gun Maverick a couple of years ago with Laura in the theater, I was loving it. But I definitely at 1 or 2 times just checked like the entrance. Just dude, just to be like, anything going on? Because this is a pretty big movie. Yeah. This would be you'd make a real splash fucking up a Tom Cruise movie.
Any opening weekends that I go to now, I think the last one I can remember was when I went to see Doctor Strange. I went alone just to see it. And I remember sitting by the exit and planning just in case.
Yeah.
Like if I've got to get out of here, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? And obviously nothing happened, but like it's very difficult now to go to a movie and not think about that.
Well, and I like to go to movies alone because unfortunately, if there was a shooting and Laura's there, fine, I'll die. Cover her with my massive body. You'll see other people scurrying. Can I get under the big dead guy too? He's providing a lot of cover. Good thing he didn't get in shape. What's he, 315? Hey, everybody, hide under the big, miserable dead guy.
It's Laura and a bunch of strangers like moving you through the theater like a moving target.
Oh, my God. He died a hero.
Okay, everybody, lift and move.
So I think we're handling gun violence with the appropriate care. But I walked into the theater that day and I took my seat. It was not assigned seating yet, but I picked a seat at the top of the theater, put my coat down, went out to get some popcorn. It's the only time. Popcorn is not a morning food, but if I'm seeing a 2.5 hour Batman movie at 10:45, it's a morning food.
Of course.
And I go, and then I come back in, and a woman, a black woman, had moved my coat so that her like family could like sit. They just took my seat and chose my row. And normally what I would do, of course, is go, hey, what the fuck? But I said, I don't want to scare people.
Yeah.
I'm anxious. And I was like, I'll just take another seat. That wasn't I don't want to ruffle any feathers. It was more like, I'm fine ruffling feathers. I don't want to make people uncomfortable given what just happened because it's a different level of discomfort.
Right.
So I sat and I've enjoyed the movie since seeing it, but the first time I saw it, I don't think I really enjoyed it.
Because you were just anxious?
I think I was anxious. I was mad that my seat was taken. I was a jumble of emotions.
So I saw it at midnight that night. And then I woke up the next morning and had heard the news. And I was just like, oh my God, man. Like that could have been me. I was at a midnight screening.
That could have been me. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I remember the most disturbing thing I ever saw at a midnight screening. I went to see a midnight screening of Bruno at 60th and 3rd, the theater that's there.
Yeah.
Went with an ex. She was very accommodating to my, like, I was doing movie reviews at the time. So I was like, I want this up at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah.
So she would go to these midnight movies with me and we saw Bruno. I'm sitting there and then like this Italian couple comes in with their 2 7-year-olds.
To Bruno?
To Bruno at midnight.
Love it.
And I was like, I guess it's 6 a.m.
Was it me from the future?
It was Clarence Thomas from the future. So that's guns. I think we are in deep shit. I think we should be, the problem with guns is there is now and I think I may have mentioned this before on the show. There is a sort of odd logic and principle to it now where it's too late if you're a gun nut. If you have a conscience and you're a gun nut, too late. There's too much blood on your hands. For you to reverse now, you could have reversed 10 years ago and maybe saved some lives. So now it's like, no, I believe in guns so much that kids dying don't make a difference to me because it's about principle.
Right.
It's about freedom and principle. And do I like dead kids? Of course not. But I'm kind of showing how principled I am. Because just like Abraham was going to kill his kid for God, your kids can die for my gun. Because it's not going to be my kid. I mean, I'm not that principled.
I've got a gun.
Yeah.
I'll protect my kid.
I'm not. Where is my gun, by the way? Where's Timmy? Oh, you took the gun to show and tell? They let them do that in 5th grade? Hey, wait, I'm getting an alert on my phone. Hold on, honey. Oh my God. Turns out a kid shot up a bunch of people at Timmy's school with an AR-15. What are the odds? Call Timmy. He's not picking up? Oh, boy.
He must be busy.
Oh, boy. Well, I guess we'll find out later. Anyway, guns, folks. I am a gun proponent. But you see what I mean? Like, there's almost this, like, the more kids that die is a tragedy, but it shows that I'm sticking to my principles because there is, just like Abraham, sacrificing your son is like the ultimate show of faith in God. Fidelity, like showing that you put his will first. And if you're willing to risk America's children, you're pretty principled in a weird way when it comes to guns.
Yeah.
But you're also a fucking disaster, a piece of shit, a horrible person, and destroying America. So, but you have your principles. Now, the switch here before we bounce from the main topic, because it's pretty hard to throw much more heat than I've thrown today.
Yeah. You must be getting tired.
No. I'm just getting warmed up. Law enforcement. This is where I find another like layer of American inception hypocrisy.
Oh, I forgot there was a second part to this.
Yeah. Law enforcement. Here's another thing. Like, law enforcement wants fewer guns on the street. because I got to go home to my family. So if I see a 90-year-old black dude peeing in a corner, if I got to light him up to get home to my family, that's what I'm going to do. Well, first I'm going to then go fuck my mistress. Then I'm going to go to my family. That is my job every fucking day. And there is that measure, like cops, everything is like, if the standard is I got to get home to my family, if that's the standard, then you're going to be an itchy trigger finger.
Yes.
I'm a little nervous. Yeah. I want to live.
Yes, it's true.
It's a clean shoot.
Yeah.
But the irony here is all the cops who love Trump, they just endorsed him. The Fraternal Order of Police just endorsed a raping felon over a prosecutor.
Yeah.
I mean, that tells you all you need to know.
Pat Lynch, did he release a statement?
No, he's, I think he's at a retirement home now, just beating up black orderlies.
Oh.
But the Fraternal Order of Police, I think it's he was the Policemen's Benevolent Association, PBA
president, yeah.
But the Fraternal Order of Police just endorsed Trump. And it's so funny because could it be any more transparent? Yes, she's a prosecutor. Of course. Law and order. But she's black. And a lady.
And a chick, yeah, right.
Pass. I'd rather ride or die with the guy who rapes women, who is just recently convicted felon. Interesting. No, that's the guy for us. That's law and order. That's the guy who's going to do the most for the police.
It really is weird.
Oh, wait. And January 6th, what happened on January 6th? Oh, his supporters at his beckoning assaulted and led to the death of several police officers. Tough titties. We're with Trump. It's a disgrace. And to me, how could you ask somebody, to take the police seriously? How could you? I mean, other than their guns, I take their guns seriously, and I worked with law enforcement. I liked several cops, but as I've often said, the cheating rate was 110%.
It's very high.
As I've always said, you make a substitute gym teacher salary and act like you are Jalen Brunson or Kobe Bryant in terms of the expectations for marital freedom.
Yeah.
I live in my mom's basement. Okay. But when I'm out there, you got to let me be free, Teresa. All right. I remember a guy in my office, a cop in my office. He was like, I'm sleeping on my couch because I was teaching a class at the, like he was a younger cop, but he was like, I was helping teach a course at the academy. And then one of the women who was a cadet, I used to date her, and then, you know what happened. And now Michelle is pissed. Oh, wow. She's pissed that you fucked. Your wife is mad you fucked somebody that you were teaching. Jesus Christ. There are good cops. There are good people in all professions, but the cop culture is very much grab them by the locker room where Trump said, grab them by the pussy, that locker room talk, that is the police station.
Yeah.
And some of the women.
The locker room and the precinct.
Yeah. And the thing is, I had a cop one time show me on his phone, this was early days of phone camera. He showed me his locker, a little video of his locker on his flip phone. It was Polaroids of all the women he was fucking.
Nice.
They were posing for ass out, photos. And his whole locker was those photos. And I said, well, you're certainly doing the serving part. Let's work a little more on the protecting. But so I saw a lot of that. I saw cops hitting on female DAs. I saw and the female cops ain't shy either. It is a culture. That's why you can have black cops beating the shit out of black people, because you adopt a new race. You adopt the blue race.
Yeah, blue.
You're like
that's why their lives matter.
Right. You're like Avatar.
Right.
You all become big blue menaces.
Right.
But we get to this conflict with guns, and with Trump. Trump is anti-law enforcement. He's just pro beating up black people and immigrants. And that's the thing. That is the summation, my closing argument. If you back Trump and you're a cop, you're not law enforcement. You're a bigot with a gun. You're a racist who likes being reinforced your backwards views, whether you've born with them, developed them, learned them. And to back somebody like Trump is such a naked, at least the cards are on the table. Oh, you're not about law enforcement. So why in the fuck would we start going the other way and being like, Blue Lives Matter, back the police? The police don't back the police. Why do I have to back the police? You don't back the police. I back Sting. I like his music. I'll back that police. But if the police are with the criminal, Trump, then why the fuck would other people back that? It's because they're not backing the police. They're backing what the police do, which is harass others, keep others away from you. Am I saying all cops don't do good shit? Cops don't do good shit? Of course. There's plenty of cops that do good shit. But the movement of like, Blue Lives Matter, brother. We got to back the blue. When I hear somebody say back the blue, I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Because you're a piece of shit. You're the guys doing this to the FDNY and NYPD at the Ranger games. Let's go. And then calling some woman a see you next Tuesday at the concession line 3 minutes later. That's the character we're talking about. So when I see the law enforcement go, we want fewer guns. And then the MAGA back the blue are like, no, you know what? The one time we're okay with the blue getting lit up, it's guns. Our guns, white guns. When white guns matter. When the white guns shoot the cops, we side with the guns. When the guns shoot black people, we side with the guns. When the cops shoot black people, we side with the cops. So it's kind of like Trump, the only thing left, and I think we learned this when Trump got shot, although a lot of people are saying, like, there's a lot more chatter about it being bullshit. Like, his ear is perfect.
Yeah.
To paraphrase Warren Zevon, Werewolves of London.
And his
ear was perfect. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, music, I learned that you know your music.
I do, yeah.
From your podcast. I was out of my depth with that shit. So I figured a Werewolves of London would be fine. But guns, Trump, cops, white people, black people, and immigrants.
Yeah, that hand should be lower.
And on the floor, we're on the second floor at the street level, women of color. And in the depths of hell, LGBTQ of color. And above them a little bit is white LGBTQ.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's roughly
that ranking system sounds right to me.
Yeah. And so to me, it's funny because when Trump got shot by an AR-15 and there was nary a word about doing anything about guns, I was like, oh shit. If the Democrats run a gun instead of Kamala Harris, we get the White House. So Kamala, we asked Joe Biden to step aside. I'm asking you for the good of the nation, tomorrow during the debate, we'll already know if this happened or not. My money is on it not happening, but maybe. Step aside and let's nominate a gun because Republicans will choose a gun over Trump. It's the only thing they will choose. They don't care for law enforcement. Law enforcement is their boogeyman. They like them for that. They don't like them for their law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And that's it, guys. I feel like this is the greatest fucking hour of my life as far as speaking. This was flames. I don't care. I agree, disagree. Spread this, don't spread it. The fact that this exists, I'm proud. I love this episode. And we'll be back after all the gun talk with comedy talk. And we're back. Mike, how was that second break?
Oof, I had to cool off. That was too hot for me.
Yeah, it's almost like the air conditioning isn't even on in here. That's how hot I was. So, punch down of the week. We asked Scott Pelley. He said this was too opinionated this week. He's a by the book journalist. I respect it. And he didn't want to be part of this. And Vinny said, we'll be lucky to get him on the show again after what I said. So we might have to do Mike might have to.
I'll talk to him.
Yeah. Mike will have to talk Paisan to Paisan. Yeah.
I'll speak Italian to him.
Do you mind if we speak Italian? Go ahead. When people don't know, like The Godfather to me is right there with.
How's the veal?
Godfather is there with like the Bible and with Shakespeare.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not even kidding. It's like, to me,
It's
those
very
are
Shakespearean.
things you should be able to just reference.
100%.
Yes. Great. We're in agreement. Cool. Okay. So I was enjoying the US Open. Unfortunately, both US women, there were 2 US women, just like 2 US men in the semifinals. None of them won. But I realized something, that there was, I forget the name of the first woman who was eliminated, but the second woman was Pegula. Her last name is Pegula. And she, but I was Wikipediaing the both of them, the 2 women, and they're both, Pegula is the daughter of the Buffalo Bills owner.
Oh, no shit.
And the other woman is the daughter of, and I forget if they were finance or what her grandfather went to Williams, was a coach at Williams, the Emma, whatever her last name is. But the point is, both daughters of billionaires.
That's going to be life moving forward, dude. Anybody that's like really in the public eye doing anything like that, they will be from a rich family. Because
it's one of those things where, and my joke was, okay, so my joke was, let's go Pegula. I wrote, I wanted her to win. And then I said, by the way, both American women in the semifinals are daughters of billionaires. Is there no space in tennis anymore for a humble millionaire?
That's a good joke.
Thank you. So on Threads, the nary mentioned Threads, this guy goes, the with 6 M's is always like, great.
Yeah.
They both had to win matches to get there. ... And then the ellipsis with too many dots, 5 dots. So your point is 6 dots ? So I wrote, I can share with everybody what I wrote, because that's not so much a punch down, but he's killing a joke by trying to make some sort of righteous point.
Right.
It's more like joke
that the rich are good, that the rich earn what they have.
Yeah. And I was like, well, first of all, the first thing I said was, let's go Pegula. I'm clearly rooting for her.
Yeah.
And I'm not denying you got to win the tennis matches, but I wrote, hey, everybody, I found the guy willing to defend billionaires even when it's just a joke and there's no need for a serious response in the first place. But since you asked, probably growing up with the wealth of billionaires allows for certain training advantages. So, congrats on trying to make a point in response to a joke. 12 dots ? So then I blocked him. To me, the block is like the double tap to the head.
Yes.
You get the response. That's like to the chest. And then I go and finish the job once I know you've read the response before you can. No, I can't respond. What do you do? Coward. The coward blocked me. Fuck off.
Yeah.
So I watched a special this morning.
Okay.
Because it's, I feel like I haven't, I have been. Well, anyway, there's no comedy talk next week.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Love the support. But I watched Nick Swartzen has a new special on YouTube, and it's called Make Joke from Face. Now, Nick Swartzen, he kind of has the fantasy that I had, which is he did a Comedy Central half hour, which I thought was really funny when he was young. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, young Nick Swartzen was very funny.
17 years ago. Like, geez. Yeah. It was really funny, and it was very relatable. He was just funny. It wasn't like, wow, this guy's so good. Like, you were just like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
And he did this thing about like, I love being like strong in front of my grandma. She's like, can you put this gallon of milk away? This gallon, grandma?
Yeah.
Great half hour. So Adam Sandler saw that half hour.
Yes.
And basically he became like a secondary member of the Adam Sandler universe.
Like the young pup of the Happy Madison crew.
Right. He's not like an inner circle guy, but he's gotten 4 or 5 movies out of it and more.
And has been funny in them. Grandma's Boy.
I never saw Grandma's Boy.
Grandma's Boy is fucking pretty funny, man. I haven't seen it since I was in like college, I guess.
Right.
But I remember the last couple times I saw it, I was like, this is fucking fun. It's like a dumb, goofy movie, which they just don't make anymore.
Right.
But it's funny.
Well, what I liked so I watched this special. I was scanning YouTube because there was really nothing I wanted to watch on the streamers.
Yeah.
And the good thing and the bad thing is everybody's got a special on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so I think the mistake I made algorithmically was I put my special up hidden so only Patreon could see it. And then like a month later made it public. But I think I needed to just make it public right away to get the sort of, 10,000 views in day one. Now it's going to keep going. But I watched it and it's, for the most part, it's like 47 minutes. And it's is it as good as his first thing? No. His Comedy Central was really funny.
Yeah.
In a very relatable, easygoing way. It was just funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't genius. It wasn't this, but it was funny, which is, of course, the main point of comedy.
Right.
Not to be like, what a great writer.
Yeah.
What a great, it's so smart what he's doing. No, it was just like, it's funny. End of discussion. I laughed. Thank you. Yeah. Adam Sandler brought him in. Funny. This one, it's a little weird seeing him as old and he wore shorts on stage.
Well, yeah, because that's kind of his thing, isn't it? That he's like a teenager.
Right. Backwards hat, t-shirt, shorts. And so this is not a critique of like, how dare you? It was just kind of a little weird.
Yeah.
Being like, I mean, you don't have to dress up.
Yeah.
But shorts. And he was at the San Jose Improv, which I was like, so that's what it looks like when there's a lot of people there. I was very proud. I sold like 95 tickets on a Wednesday there.
Yeah.
I was proud of that. But, my personal best is like, this is the worst show we've had all month of the San Jose Improv. But it's funny. It's not perfect. And it like the first few minutes, I was like, okay, it's Nick's. But by the end of it, I was just like, it's light. It's fun. It's funny. It's enjoyable as like if you got, there are some specials, and this is not a knock. Nobody's going to go, that Nick Swartzen YouTube special from 2024 is like, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Sometimes comedy can just be, hey, I had nothing to watch. What'd J.L. say? There's nothing on. We've watched the show. Let's give that a try. And if you're in the right mood, just silly. Silly, but not stupid.
Yeah.
Is how I would describe it. Silly, but not stupid. And even this miserable, fired up asshole sometimes just wants to have a silly laugh or two. So Nick Swartzen, you silly bastard. It was an enjoyable watch for the most part. Nick Swartzen, make joke from face. It's on YouTube. So after this and this episode, I think they'll want to go watch something silly.
Got it.
So it's almost like this is a shot and chaser kind of thing. So thank you everybody for listening. I hope you will share. I know this is in the wheelhouse of a lot of my fans. So maybe this is the episode you share. You give a nice review on Spotify or Apple, and you tell somebody you should check this out. And maybe that's how me and Mike start building up an even bigger fan base from this. But I certainly went out on a limb. This is certainly not going to help me in any real way when the cops come to my apartment and accidentally shoot me 5 times in the back of the head. But Mike, housekeeping, and then let's bounce.
Guys, if you've been paying attention to the show for any period of time, you know that if you are watching on YouTube, please comment below. It helps us with the algorithm.
Great comment work by everybody. People are really getting engaged. We appreciate it.
Excellent. If you are watching the show on YouTube, you can also listen to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We are an audio product, so please do that. Take us on the road with you on your commute or on a run or whatever. You can go ahead and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, or Spotify has reviews now as well. So if you haven't done that yet, please do it. All of these things help us grow the show and get it to more people, and eventually finance this whole thing. Because it'd be good to have a little more money.
I agree. And the other thing you can do for free, because I know a lot of you like Mike's contribution. He's like I'm like the raw talent, and he's the gifted producer who is starting to mold this into a pop sensation. Okay, I'm the Kesha to his.
No, not good. I'll take Jimmy Iovine.
Okay, him too.
Yeah.
What's the other guy? Dr. Luke.
Dr. Luke's the bad guy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's Jimmy Iovine and Dr.
So I'm
Dre.
Dr. Luke. I'm kidding. Neither of us are Dr. Luke.
Nobody's Dr. Luke.
Okay, good. I'm Mr. Luke. I didn't go to medical school.
You're Dr. Dre.
Okay.
Almost. I'm closer to Dr. Dre.
Oh,
but
and
you're
half blackface
you're Ice
is
Cube.
my Beats. My Beats headphones is half blackface. There we are. So, no, but in all seriousness, go support what Mike does. Go subscribe to Slickback Studios on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, it's a click away.
Yeah. We have more video stuff coming.
More videos.
Soon,
he has
hopefully.
more shows. Maybe you'd like their shows, other shows as well. Maybe you'd like them more than me. I don't think so, but maybe you will. And the point is, if you like what Mike's contributed to my life and show, which I know so many of you do, go give him a subscribe on Slickback Studios on YouTube, and you might discover. You give another show a chance. Watch another video when you're bored. When you're done with my show and Nick Swartzen's new special, if you still want some silly or some serious. So thank you, everybody. If you're still listening, I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and see you next Thursday.